Today, we're back with another interview with a member of the Idaho Horsemen. He's a wide receiver. We've talked to him before, but now we're going to get to know him a little bit better, talking about his career, high school, college, what it was like playing in the junior college level, as well as moving up, and what we can expect to see from him for the rest of the season, as well as going into the following seasons and what his goals and aspirations are. You don't want to miss this episode of the Game Time Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time!
This is the Game Time Guru podcast, where I interview sports figures from all over the world to help deliver a panoramic view on sports. So whether you're a former athlete, one of the crazies, or simply a casual sports fan, this is the perfect show for you as we peel back the curtains and learn from our guests every single week. I'm your host, Shane Larson, and I'm helping you see sports through a different lens. What's up, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of the Game Time Guru podcast. I am your host, Shane Larson, host of the show, creator of the show, founder of the show and the network. It's 4.5 years running right now. Excited to announce that we have surpassed 66,000 downloads, 91 different countries. We have gone global with this show, and it's thanks in large part to the listeners, you guys right now. Thank you so much for the support over the last 4.5 years, all the guests that have been on the show, and of course, the sponsor of the podcast, that's 208 Printing here out of the Treasure Valley of Idaho. Go to madeby208.com. Go get your swag done. If you guys need shirts, hats, any kind of printing needs done, vinyl, whatever it is, go to madeby208.com. Now, every single week we bring on a new guest. And for those who've been following my journey, if you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, any of those platforms, you know that I've been working with the Idaho Horsemen and getting to kind of cover them from a different angle, bring a non-traditional media outlet over to the Horsemen, and it's been a really fun experience for me getting to know the players. One of those players is our guest today. He is the leading receiver right now, currently in the season with the Horsemen. He's Ryan Stokes. Ryan, thanks so much for joining the show, man.
Hey, how you doing? How everybody doing?
We're good, man. We're excited to have you, brother. So just so we can give people a little understanding of who you are, currently for the Horsemen, you got 14 catches, 271 yards, and 6 touchdowns is what I read on the website. Now, I kept telling everybody that this whole Hayden Wright to Ryan Stokes, Wright to Stokes, Wright to Stokes, that's the theme of the season so far in the first 3 games. And I had talked to you a little bit about your, first couple games when I was at the game. And you had mentioned something to me, this is your first time playing indoor football. And I want to know real quick, before we even get into the backstory of your football career, how are you enjoying the indoor game, man? Like, what's it like for you?
It's different, you can feel the atmosphere more. Like you don't got a track separating the fans. The fans right here up on you. They can talk to you. They can get to know you. Ask for autographs and all that during the game. And it's kind of fun that that's able to happen. So I like it a lot. I ain't think I was really gonna like it because of the field. I'm like, man, it's not long enough, them type of things. I'm like, how I'm going to get yards, so it's coming together. It's almost the same type of football, just in a shorter field.
Yeah, for sure. I always wondered what someone like yourself, you're not small. You're 6'3", about 185 is what you're listed at. But, you're 6'3", like you're a tall dude, long strides, and you're fast. So, you cover the field just within like a fraction of a couple seconds, and it's kind of crazy. I wondered how it'd be for you. But that's one thing you did tell me, that you can't teach speed. So I want to ask you about that, Ryan. Earlier in your career, just let's flash back. Have you always been one of the faster guys on the field? And how has that been? Because you told me that you specifically said you can't teach speed.
Yeah, I all my life, I've been one of the faster guys. Got a little bit of a track background. Not too much, but I know how to run. I like to run. And if anybody knows me, they know I'm ready to run whenever. So getting in trouble, my punishments couldn't be running. Because it's like, if you tell me to go run, I'm going to run until you get tired, until I get tired, or whatever the case is, but it don't happen a lot. So it's just a blessing, God-given talent, faith and hard work, being able to stay on top and keep running and keep pursuing a dream is always,
I dig that, man. Not a lot of people enjoy running, so that's a God-given blessing, I guess, for you.
Definitely.
Let's talk about this too. I want to know about the running thing. Did you play any sports? Like, did you do track? Did you do anything else besides football when you were growing up?
Yes, sir. I'm a three-sport All-American. So football, basketball, track. That's what I did
Three sport
at a high
All-American.
level. Yeah, at a high level too. So
Okay, let's talk about that. Now we have to unbox these things. We can't just like run past that. You know what I mean?
right.
Um, here's the deal. Three sport All American. You're 6'3". Some would say, okay, like what made you choose football? First off, I want to know, like, when did you make that decision to focus on football and go to your collegiate career in football? And when did you make that decision? I guess.
You can hide your anger a little bit better on the football field than the court. So I'm a very in tune player, so I get into the game a lot, and it don't look as good on the on the basketball field than it would on the football field. You can go take your
So
anger out different ways.
you don't strike me like, see, just being around you a little bit though on the sidelines. You don't strike me as a guy who gets like who's much of an angry guy. That's kind of interesting. I guess the competitive side probably comes out. Did you get a lot of technicals when you were in basketball or
Nah,
anything?
it ain't that type of. It's just the look of it can be deceiving. You feel me? So like me getting on my teammates about running certain plays, what I'm saying, something like that. You can't see it all on the field. So that's just a high school thing. Where it wasn't like it's not now. I'm a changed person. That's why you get to see a different person. Goofy Ryan, you know,
I
happy,
dig
always
it.
smiling.
I dig it. That is true though. Like you're smiling all the time when you're on the sideline. I think that's super super cool. Speaks volumes of your character. Now, tell me about those other two sports though. You competed at a very high level, like you said. Basketball and track, including football, going through high school and whatnot. What did those teach you? Do you feel like it's impactful to be a multi-sport athlete when you're growing up? Do you think that they all intertwined in some form or fashion? Did they each teach you something different?
Definitely. Like it made me. It teach you the same thing in a different way in all three sports. So it's discipline. Discipline your body to run. At a long pace at a fast time. 800, 400, stuff like that. It just teach you how to intertwine with different workouts so you always ready. So come football season, I'm still in a better shape than people coming in because I just got out of basketball. Then come track season, I just got out of football. So I'm still in a better shape. Not necessarily just will say track shape or something like that, but I'm in a better shape than a lot of people coming in that ain't ran indoor or ain't did no sport, and they're just coming in. I'm more on a ready to go thing, type of ready to go
I
because
love
of the
that.
sports.
I dig that. Yeah, that's a conversation we've had quite a bit on this show from different athletes and just different sports figures in general. Is just talking about multi-sport athletes. Is it good? Is it not? Do you think it's beneficial? Then, do you think that kids, like, if you were to go back and give some advice to the younger kids, do you think it's beneficial? Would you advise them to either focus on one sport or at least dabble into other sports to learn different things?
I think everybody should run track because it makes it gets you ready. So I wouldn't say this necessarily. If you're a basketball guy, you're a basketball guy. So do that. But everybody should at least try track because track can't do anything but help you and enhance your level of play and speed and everything.
You chose to go the junior college route for football. And looking at your statistics in the junior college game, I saw you had 1,200 yards, 17 total touchdowns in the junior college route. So I want to know a couple of things. One, why you chose the junior college route, and two, what your overall opinion is of junior college, because nowadays we have, the quote unquote last chance you kind of persona. Like, everybody thinks that everything's like last chance you for junior college.
Right.
But when I talk to players, I want to get the real inside scoop of what it was like for them in the junior college level. So tell us why you went to JUCO and what was your JUCO experience like while you were there for those 2 years.
All right. I went to junior college obviously because I had the offers coming out of high school, but poor decisions. College I'm done. I wasn't per se done with it. So junior college kept my dream alive. Been able to go back to school, graduate from junior college, go on and keep continuing to play football. So the I feel like the junior college is good. I wouldn't say if you can go D1, don't go. I mean, don't not go D1 to go junior college. But junior college is, I feel like almost a better way because you get to play. So you playing 2 years and then you get to go to a D1 and also get a chance to play. So you already got a feel for college. So your first D1 game wouldn't necessarily be the hype for you that's scary. It'll be the more the hype of I'm ready to play. I want to get in the game. So I feel like junior college gets you ready for sure. And if you go and play on a high level, JUCO, because there's levels to everything. So if you go play on a higher level, you make the game look different or easy. You go up there and have a good time at the D1 level.
Totally. Now, your teammate Giovanni Sanders, when he was on the show with me a couple months back, he also played junior college football in California, and one of the things he told to me was, junior college for him was Division I football at a fraction of the cost, mainly because of the coaching and, like you said, the experience that you can get. Now, there are levels. Obviously, I've talked to some people that played junior
Definitely.
college football in California, and it was trash. It was worse than their
Right.
high school, for that matter. But I want to know, like, I'm assuming you've probably heard of or watched Last Chance U. I mean, we've had Coach Jason Brown from Independence Community College on the show. I've interviewed him. I've had, Davern Williams, who was with East Mississippi Community College. He was defensive line coach. He was on Last Chance U as well. I've had a couple of those guys on the show to talk about their experiences there. But, I want to know, did you guys have dorms? Did you guys have like a full-on experience, or was it a little bit different than what you might see in the Last Chance U series?
It's not a little bit, it's a lot bit. In California wise, it's almost what you would call a struggle that you don't want to go through. This has to be something you want to do. You can't just you're not coming to California without dorms, you know, for JUCO, having to find your own place. And some schools, they do I get an apartment for them, but in a way they're gonna have to still pay some of their money or a lot of their money to be able to a little bit afford it because it's too expensive out here. So when you out here got this has to be I love football, I want to play football, and this what I want to do because you don't get the meal plans and you got to go out and buy your own food, you got to get jobs, you got to work, you got to pay rent, you got to pay bills. So it's a lot more growing up coming to California that you have to do than just having a dorm room and it come out your financial aid and stuff like that. Rent probably your financial aid check probably help for 1 month rent.
Right.
So you got to go get a job. So
Guess it teaches you to grow up pretty quickly if you go that route, right? Um,
definitely.
Going out of junior college for you, you go over to Texas A&M Commonwealth, and you played in 24 games. I mean, you had 1,300 yards. I mean, you're just consistently a good receiver. That's what it turns out to be, because over 1,200 yards in junior college looks like over 1,300 yards in your next step of college football. So, like, I want to know about that experience, right? Texas A&M Commonwealth. Why did you choose that school, and what was that experience like for you? It might not be the Ohio States or the Alabamas, but it is the next level of college football, and it's football at a very high level. So I'm curious to hear your experience there. Playing in 24 games in 2 years, 87 passes, 1,300 plus yards.
Yeah, definitely. My experience, hey, it was great being able to I played for two different coaches, Coach Carthel and my favorite coach. I love this guy, man. He taught me a lot. He kept me under his wing for some reason. I feel like he tried to make me be one of his sons. He always had me over. So my first Father's Day out there, he brought me out there and cooked dinner for me and everything. Just made me feel like I was, one of his. And it was just me and him. His family, he had just moved out here. His family was all the way out in somewhere in the middle of Texas where they was from. So it was a good idea to bring me over. We wasn't doing too much of nothing, so it was good. And then the overall school experience playing games there is always crazy. Almost packed out stadium every single time we play, no matter who we play. So the game experience was fun. Smaller level, but the games made it feel like you was playing D1. A lot of school support, a lot of community support. So it was a great overall experience. Everybody fairly nice. You don't really have too many problems. So around there, yeah, I liked it. I loved it actually. I wouldn't go back to live or nothing like that in Commerce. But yeah, I love the experience that we got. It was a different experience for sure.
Oh man, that phrase right there. I wouldn't go back. So here's what I tell people this all the time, Ryan. I'm like, I served a mission for my church in Brazil. I lived in Brazil for 2 years, back in 2008, 2010, when I was 19 till I was 21. And everyone's like, "How was that over there?" I'm like, "Was it so cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was a good experience, man. I loved, loved the people down there. Never gonna go back to live there or anything, but."
Definitely,
So it just reminded me of that. Like when you said it, totally get it. Like great experience. I learned a lot, loved it, but definitely not going back. Here,
definitely.
here's my next question for you, man. You mentioned leaders in your life. You just mentioned your coach, good mentor. Um, talk about that. What are some of the things, maybe the top three things that I guess him or any other leader that you've had, other coaches that you've had, what are the top three things you have learned from them throughout your football journey, whether that's in high school, college, and now on the professional level? Tell us about that.
Whew. I had a few like great people in my life. My dad, uh, like three of my coaches, Bishop, Kendall, and Coach Griff and Coach Corey. So them are people that if I could think of three things to tell you, it'd be still too many because the three things stem off that they lead me in a great way. I talk to them almost every other day, and it's all four of them. So they give me constant like knowledge, what you should do, um, how to go about. So it's a it's too many. The one of the things is though is always the easiest one. Be yourself. Don't let nobody take you away from being yourself. Those Griffin words. Don't never let nobody take you from being yourself. Your true self is better than what anybody can make you be. So don't do nothing. Don't be yourself. That's why I always be myself. I always smile, no matter who I'm around, even if we're on the field. You're not gonna make me get out of character.
How do you feel that's impacted you as not only an athlete, but as a human being yourself, smiling all the time? How do you think that's impacted you?
I mean, in a great way. A lot of people like me. I get along with a lot of people, so it's easy for me to make friends. So I don't got a lot of enemies because people like I like his energy. When you're around him, he just glow, and it make you want to glow. So somebody else smiling and having a good time. What's the point of looking down? I make other people have great days, especially where I work in the serving community. So I made a lot of people day change around
I
there.
dig that. I dig that a lot, man. I love that. Be yourself. Super, super cool. Now, I heard you talking to one of the players on the sideline from the opposing team. You're talking about, I think it was actually a coach saying they were like, "I'm not from around here," and you go, "Well, neither am I. I'm from the South or whatever." You were saying something like that too. So
Yeah,
I'm always curious, Ryan, like for the players that are, coming over to play for the Horsemen, coming to Idaho. Talk to me about the change. I want to know your honest thoughts. Like what's Idaho like for you? Because it can't be necessarily the same as from where you're from.
but I'm really from the Midwest. It's not the South. I'm
There you
from the
go,
Midwest,
Midwest.
Missouri, but it's all good. It's the South. We all talk the same a little bit. So I'm from Missouri, and I just tell you, like, it's a lot of Hans and Huns going on. They be like, "What you say?" A lot of people don't understand what I be saying sometimes. So I be trying to like talk good, regular, and everything, but sometimes it don't happen the way people want it to happen. They be like, "What you say? Can you say that again?" And I'm like, "All right." So and they would all the mountains and stuff like that is crazy. It's like the valley. I ain't never really been in no valley, so and culture shock is just like a lot of different people out here. So
Different
it's a
people
good
in a
thing.
good way or bad way? Okay, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
was
in
it
a,
a good
in a
thing or
good
bad?
way, in a good way, in a good way. It's just different people, so I get to see a lot of stuff I probably never seen before. Like talk to people I never talked to before. What's up,
So,
buddy?
oh, we got family here. Talk about that. Okay, so I'm assuming is this a child of yours?
Yeah, that's my son right there. Peyton.
So how has sports helped you as a dad, Ryan?
Oh man, the motivation is crazy. So it's just I feel like you gotta grow up in a certain way because people are looking at you now. Then you got young ones of your own that's looking at you. So the more I get that look in their eyes and stuff like that, the more that look and that motivation rise in me on the field. So it make it 10 times worse what I want to really do to another team. Like I want to go crazy, and it's not just for me, but it's for the young ones, you know. So I feel like it helped me a lot because I feel like I can do anything already. So it's just time to get it done. One of those type of things.
Yeah, for sure. I was just reading a book today, actually, the day of this recording. And one of the things that the author was talking about is when you're dreaming and you have goals, try to don't do them for yourself, do them for other people and include other people in your goals, right? And it made me think about, like, I'm a father of two. I got two little boys. And like when I play basketball in tournaments and stuff still to this day, and they're watching me, like I want my goals to be like, I'm not just winning this for myself. I want to win this and be able to like hug my kid afterwards because he's seeing me, and I want him to be around the game of basketball. I coach basketball. Like that's what I want, is for them to see that. And so I understand too that when you were mentioning motivation, it's an extra motivation for a good reason. Being a father is a huge blessing, and it puts a little bit of responsibility on your shoulders. It puts things in a different light, different perspective on life for that matter, but it's in a good way because now you have an extra set of motivation. And it's cool that your son's here. He gets to see you. You know what I mean? He gets to be around it. He gets to be around the game and see what his dad
Definitely.
is super, super good at. And I want to get to know you outside of football too, for the fans that are out there and for anybody who's, whether they're maybe another professional organization, they're listening in. Outside of football, what are your biggest hobbies and skill sets? What do you enjoy doing, Ryan, outside of football?
I like bowling.
Mm.
Uh, I probably beat everybody in bowling once or twice, or 3 or 4 times since we've been out here. So they know I'm a good bowler. I can swim. I like to go swimming in the summertime. Skate. I also skate. I own a pair of skates that's out there in Idaho. So yeah,
Okay, a pair of
them my little
skates.
hobbies.
A pair of skates. What kind of skates? What do you mean you're a skater?
Eights. I'm a skater. Eights. I got the roller skates.
Like, are we talking like four wheels on each
Yeah,
side? Or are we talking
four
inlines?
wheels.
Are we talking
Four
inline
wheels.
rollerblading?
I can rollerblade, but like my little hobby is skating. I like to skate,
Dude, I
but
dig
I
that.
can
Okay.
rollerblade. I definitely can rollerblade.
Okay, I like that. Okay,
Yeah,
when you're in Idaho, what are some of the things you've been doing? Like, where are some of the good places you've been? That have you had any food that you liked or didn't, for that matter? Did you try anything out so far in your month or two that you've been here?
definitely. The Idaho pizza place,
Oh, okay, yeah.
it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I don't really like pizza either, so that's a big thing. And the Louisiana Soul Bayou, I liked it that too. And then everything else is pretty. I ain't had anything. Oh, Yard House. We go to Yard House a lot, but Yard House is like not an Idaho thing. So, but Yard House, we go there. It's pretty good.
Shout out to all those places. So like we just went. Idaho Pizza Company is my favorite like pizza in Idaho. It's super super nice.
Definitely.
Every one of them is pretty good. And then Yard House, yeah, it's not an Idaho thing, but over at the Village in Meridian, like that's where my wife and I started going when we were dating, 6 years ago, and
Yeah,
that's like kind of our little spot. So like shout out to both those places because those are my gigs too. So I like
yeah,
that. So as the season continues on, I just kind of want to know, as we get to hear about, the speed of the game, we get to hear about the atmosphere. You talked about, what the indoor game's like for you, but what were your expectations, Ryan? Like coming into an indoor football league that's only been existing for 1 year. What were your expectations, and how do you see this season going? Are you having a lot of fun with it? Like how is it going? And do you feel like it's beneficial for your game, not just to get film, but is it beneficial for you to work on your overall game?
I do feel like it's beneficial for me to work on my game. The speed of the game is what I came out here thinking. I'm like, man, you're too small. I came in at 197 or 198, and I'm like 192. So I'm like, man, you're too small. I'm like, and then the wall, you're gonna get knocked into the wall a lot. So it took me to the third game to actually even get tackled. So like it was like I don't know what to expect. So until the last game, I finally know what it is to get tackled. It don't hurt too bad. The wall ain't as bad as I thought, and I honestly thought it was like I'm gonna be too fast. I'm gonna get to the other end. I always be banging out into the wall. So I was thinking a whole lot more aggression than what's been happening. So I still like it though. It's still fun. I'm having then the kids at the game is just crazy. It make them they get excited for it. So it make me so excited just to be like I'm looking over there and they getting excited to see me or Quan or Justin, Cal, Giovanni, all them guys work out. And of course Mr. Wright. So
Man, it's
just
so. Of course, you didn't get hit into the wall though, because you're too fast for everybody right now at this point. But that is going to probably be part of the game. I noticed one thing, and not to make comparisons, but I have to. Like the last game, Giovanni. So in game number 3 of this season, Giovanni throws his first pass. Obviously, of course, it's you who catches it. It's a bomb, the other side of the field, and you caught it like one-handed in traffic. And it reminded me, literally, like your style of play reminds me of Randy Moss when I would watch Randy Moss when I was growing up. And it's just super, you're tall, you're lanky, and you're athletic. And obviously your speed is the key factor here. But you can catch the 50-50 balls, which no one can catch. So I'm just curious, did you grow up either watching Randy Moss or did you have any other players maybe that you really liked their style because you were sort of
so it was Torrey Hart and Randy Moss, my favorite 2 receivers. So going to watching them, I don't know. I won't say I have a style because I don't do juke moves. So I'm not really just like, oh, I'm finna go out here and shake somebody out their shoes type of guy. But I'm just gonna run past you and blow by you and
you
catch
just
the
beeline
ball.
it.
50, yeah, 50 balls is mine. So it's almost like 100% because if you get one hand, I'm gonna grab it with the other hand. So
Dude,
just got to make adjustments. It's never quarterback fault. That's what I be trying to tell Mr. Wright.
I love it, man. I love the mentality. Torrey Holt and Randy Moss. Those are 2 receivers those are good receivers to look up to and kind of emulate. I
Definitely.
guess those are solid athletes. Here's the deal. I want to know. Obviously the goal is probably to win a championship for the Horsemen. You want to come in here and compete and do the best that you can. But what is your ultimate goal with the sport of football, Ryan? Do you want to play at the next level, or is there any career goals that you have outside of football? Maybe I just want to get to know you more as either a player and a human
Yeah.
being for that matter.
Well, definitely. I have a couple CFL looks. It's just when all that open up, like what are we gonna do with it? So this was just for like I'm gonna keep myself in shape type of thing and like get film and help Coach Ren out. So and the love of the game. I don't feel like sitting down like a year and a half again. Like that first year was crazy. Like not being able to get on the field. So I'm like when he had contacted me, I'm like I'm all in already. So it's kind of an easy thing. Like he didn't have to do too much work. I was already down. So
For sure.
and I
And then that's go ahead.
and outside of that, it's just trying to get a little business started, trucking wise, moving company or something like that. So that's the route I want to go.
I dig that. That's awesome, man. And that's the one thing about this pandemic is what people don't realize is how much impact it has. So, because like what the general fan, like the I guess the not the crazies, but just like the general fan is out there, they think that all the football players are still having a great old time and they didn't have to lose much because the NFL's still going. And I had to let them know, like, no, there's a lot of football players and a lot of basketball players, a lot of athletes in general that were impacted by this. There's a lot of guys who wanted to make it like yourself, like maybe a CFL look or something, or basketball players who were playing overseas for that matter when the pandemic hit and they had to get sent home. They don't make a paycheck when that happens. There's a lot of
Yep.
players that didn't have that opportunity. So right now that things are starting to open up, I think it's huge. It's a good opportunity to have these other opportunities come up. It's good to get things open so that you can get back on the field. So you have those
Definitely.
opportunities to get those other looks. And now I want your honest opinion here. A lot of people who watch sports like football and basketball, for some reason, they look down on other leagues such as the CFL. They look down on the XFL. I had a couple guys from the XFL on my show. Indoor leagues like the Arena League, indoor football and any kind of indoor football league for that matter. They look down on
Right.
them, but I always tell them like, no, dude, I think it's football at a high level, and it's guys who want to get reps and potentially make it to another level. It's giving them opportunities, because in basketball, you can just go overseas and make a hefty paycheck if you get in the right league. In football,
Right.
it's a little different. You have the NFL, it's a monopoly, and there's not a lot of opportunities in the United States. So when you get them, I always am a big fan of them, because there's a lot of players like yourself that are highly talented. What's your overall thoughts, though, on those leagues in the sport of football, for that matter? Because football is very, very difficult to make it at the professional level, whereas in basketball, you have a lot more opportunity, and baseball for that matter.
Yeah, I'll tell you like this. We're gonna go back. I come from St. Louis, so anywhere that I can get on and get, like, not necessarily just for the paycheck, but anywhere that I can go get paid playing the sport I love, I'm going. I don't look down on any league, So whether it's an NFL, CFL, XFL, if I get my shot on that level, I'm going to play. So, and it's not necessarily just about the money. Yeah, I would love to get paid a lot of money. Yeah, I would love to play on Sundays. But until I get there, I'm being honest to myself about what's going down. Like, I still got my chance. I'm still able to perform at a high level. So with that being said, I'm not done, and I go to play anywhere.
I dig that. I dig it a lot. If there's young athletes listening to this interview right now, Ryan, what would you tell them? The biggest piece of advice that you'd give them through sports. What has sports taught you? What's the biggest lesson or advice that you've given them about sports? If they're coming up and they want to make it to just even compete at the next level, maybe that might be making a varsity team for their school, or maybe that is making it to the collegiate level. What would be your biggest piece of advice or your biggest lesson through sports?
Go to class, do y'all work, don't miss no days of school, turn in all y'all homework, and it'll be easy for y'all. It'll definitely be easy. All you got to do is go to school. The want might not be there, just go. It'll make your whole life easier. That'll keep your head solid too, because your grades will be good. So when grades coming out, it won't be affecting you, so you won't be nervous, because you know you turned everything in. That's where a lot of people lose it at, though. Not turning in work, not going to class or something like that. I done seen a lot of good ones lose it because of that. So that'll be my biggest thing.
I like that, because it's not even advice from an athletic standpoint. It's an academic standpoint. And it's not even really that deep into academics. It's just simply go to class, do the things that are required to make you eligible to actually play. Because like you said, I think that's so common in a lot of athletes, man. There's a lot of athletes out there that don't make it simply because they're not eligible to showcase their skill set on the field, the court,
Definitely.
whatever it is, because they didn't do what they were required to do. And quite honestly, all you got to do is turn in your work. So just show up. I always tell people when I was at Boise State and
To turn it
I was
in.
there, just show it up. Just show up to class. That's 10% of your grade right there. They'll give you an attendance bonus, for crying out loud. So just show up to
Yeah.
class and you might be able to get through, It's the good times. All right.
Yeah,
So
that
Ryan,
69.3 they give you. That 69.3 they give you, they might want to bump it up, because you get that little attendance grade. Your attendance grade good.
exactly. That's the difference between passing and not. There you go.
Yep,
That's the difference between starting or not being able to dress down on a Friday night in high school. So there you go.
definitely.
Oh, that's funny, actually. So true. So rest of the season, I want to know, as we're wrapping up the interview, Ryan, rest of the season, what do we expect to see from Ryan Stokes, and what can the fans from the Horsemen who haven't been at the games yet, which we're trying to get them out to the games, the fans from the Horsemen and the whole league for that matter, what can we expect to see from you and the rest of the team finishing off the season?
Hey, look, we work hard every day. We believe in faith and hard work. So, and we believe in, on game day, we're gonna give you guys a show. So the people who missing it, you're gonna miss a lot of points being put up. It might look easy, but we work hard for easy moments. So we just we like putting up points. We like working harder than the next team. So if you're not working, it ain't gonna happen for you against the Horsemen. So
Ooh,
exciting
I did.
season, and I'm gonna give a show every time I step on the field, every single time. And I believe so in my guys. So I know we're gonna get it done. 2020, what is it, 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
That ring gonna be on my finger. Y'all know it.
Oh, I dig that, man, and I don't doubt it. Just for everybody out there who's listening, all the the fans who haven't made it out to a game yet, go check it out. Like I do have a lot of people say, oh, well, they're just tearing up the league. Well, it's because you put in the work. It's no different than the other teams in the league. Like they have the same opportunities as anybody else does. You guys put in the work, you put in the time, and you go out there and you execute. Some teams aren't able to execute. It just depends. But you guys have the ability to execute, and it's been fun to watch. But yeah, for everybody out there, make sure to go check out the games for the Horsemen. Follow Ryan and see he's leading the team in touchdowns 3 games into the season, and I don't expect it to stop. Ryan, I just want to say thanks so much for joining the show. I appreciate it, man, and we look forward to seeing you the rest of the year.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For all those listening, make sure to tune into the show, subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll get this out to more people as we continue to grow. 91 countries. Let's get that to 100. Appreciate everybody listening. We'll talk to you next week. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.